Now it's live.
So it won't let me do LinkedIn, but we can go live on everything else for some reason. So looks like
that's cool. That's cool.
Okay. So I don't know why it's.
We're live on Facebook. It's just come through on my phone.
Awesome. Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you. There we go. We are live on Facebook. I can just see that.
Yay!
Okay, so everyone, technical issues, but we're ready to go. So first of all, let me introduce Frances, who is a public speaking coach and just absolutely fantastic. And just, but definitely, since we've spoken, your personality really does shine through, and actually make me feel so much more confident speaking live. So that's got to be a good thing.
Yes, it is. Absolutely, that's what I'm here for,
exactly.
Amongst other things. Mm-hmm.
So Frances has 35 years of experience.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
I've been performing for 50 years.
Wow.
Yes, I'm old. And it first started when I was singing hymns at school. And it's something that I've always enjoyed doing. But once I started going into things like government and, jobs and things, there were a lot of people who were scared of public speaking. And it just seemed a way, and I always felt for people when they're frozen or you can feel that they're really anxious, that there's a whole bunch of things inside that person that aren't getting out because of that fear. So as I said, I've been a performer for a very long time. I've spent 35 years in government, but I have been training people to write speeches, give speeches, and actually, meeting etiquette and meeting protocols. A lot of people don't think that's very exciting, but it is when you can see someone taking the step and being confident and giving their opinion and not having any imposter syndrome. So that's really important. So over the last 35 years, I've been doing that, but in probably the last 10, I decided to start building courses and building coaching structures and things so that everyone gets a chance. Because I think everyone should have the opportunity to step through fear and show who you really are. And until you do that, the world's missing out on something.
I completely agree. But then you've been singing hymns and you say you've been performing for 50 years. So
yes.
So you just basically springboard into it, or
yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And there was a period in my life where I was a teaching principal of a drama school. And wow. I spent it was about 2 years, I think, that I was able to do that. And I spent that wonderful time training and training shy little kids to step forward and be confident, and social skills and all of those sort of things. I mean, we had fun. We played frogs and, all of those sort of things. And the techniques that are used are really the same ones that I use in my coaching classes. It has to be fun. And particularly with adults, it has to be fun because that fear is so incredibly entrenched. It has to be fun, and it has to be something that you can feel immediately better about. And that's what we do.
Have you ever felt nervous or worried or scared?
Yes. Even now, I still do. And for me, it's often the importance of the thing that I'm doing. I really have to center, and we'll talk about ways to do that. To be able to center and say, okay, I've got something I want to say. What's my audience? Going through some steps. The thing with fear, the fear spiral, and yes, I put my hand up and say there are times when I'm doing that. The whole point is that the fear is a habit that we've developed. And what we're trying to do is break the habit. It's a fear spiral, and you start breathing, and all we're doing is, to start with, all we're doing is stopping that fear spiral for just a second or two. and it gives you a chance to recenter, so that it's not, the fear doesn't feed on itself and you're getting into the point where you're totally frozen. What we try to do is say, okay, just stop for a second, stop for 2 seconds, stop for 3 seconds, and okay, and recenter. So it's probably the best way to say is that you are finding a way to distract your mind.
I like that.
Yep.
Yeah, you do. You just build yourself up, and you just, before you know it, you're like, oh.
Exactly. And when you think about what caused that fear in the first place, was it, in year 5, you were giving that oral geography thing and Mrs. Anderson saw you freeze totally and you said, I'm never going to speak in public again because I was so ashamed, or I was so, that happened then. It's not happening now. But our body and our mind remembers it. Can I tell you a quick story about Catherine?
Yes.
Very quickly. Catherine was one of my clients, and she was an incredibly intelligent engineer, absolute whiz when it came to maths and science. And she came to me after, and what we'll call it the Klaus Factor. She works in a very small engineering company, and they joined with this huge consortium. And she was having a chat with Rob, or whoever it was, about what their role was going to be. And he said, oh, look, Catherine, while you're here, I'll bring in Klaus. And she said, who's Klaus? He's the vice president of the company, this huge company. And Klaus walks in, and as Catherine was telling me this story, her whole body was, because he said, oh, Catherine, how are you? And what are you doing? And she just said, this stuff came out of my mouth and I have no idea what I said. And Klaus, being the kind gentleman that he was, said, well, look, that sounds lovely, Catherine, but I didn't understand a word you said. And that, of course, Catherine just, no. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? So what we're trying to do in all of this stuff is stop the Klaus factor.
Yeah.
When I worked with Catherine, she was going to be delivering to an international conference, and it was about this really important trains and things. Incredibly intelligent woman. And so we practiced and we practiced and we practiced. And I said, Klaus is in the room. And she said, no, he's not. No, he's not. I'm here. So, we made it fun. But you could see it yourself, couldn't it? You were just, and your body's remember, Klaus wasn't going to hurt her. There was no crockery being thrown. There was no reason to be fearful, but
I know. It does get to us though. Like, I notice that whenever I get nervous, my lower lip, like it just goes, like I get scared.
Yes.
And then,
yes.
Yeah. And then I almost start waffling because I have to feel the silence.
I know. And it's not necessary, please. It's not necessary. And I will, when we get to that right point, Nikki, I will show you about 10 top 10 top tips. And everyone is proven. There's physical and mental tips. We'll go through those, and they are available. So when we get to that point, okay?
Okay, fine. Because I think one of the things with COVID and lockdown and all of those things is that I know that I feel like I've taken a step back at times. Like because we had that break of interaction with other people, it was all, and our working life changed and everything's changed really. It's almost the first time that I got out of lockdown and I started talking to people again, I kind of felt like it was all just too much. It took me a while to get used to being around people, and I had to almost re-educate myself on how to be confident and how to speak
and how to be social again.
Yeah, it's really tough.
Yes.
Like, how? Why?
Why?
Well, I spent between noughts and in my 30s being able to speak to people, and then all of a sudden, a couple of weeks, and I'm like,
There's a couple of things that I'd suggest is that as you said, you've worked on being confident in public, okay? And the cues that you would have been using when you were speaking, when there's people and all of those sort of things, they would be bolstering your confidence while you were speaking. And as you said, it's something that you worked on. So this is not something that probably you naturally feel. Would you say? And there's Absolutely no problem with that. From the message that one of your group said, not everyone has to be open and extroverted and confident and bounding about. You got yourself to a point where you were comfortable and confident. You were calm. Yes, calm.
Yeah.
When all of those cues were removed, you were going to have to start again.
Yeah.
And that's really scary, because you think, I worked really hard to get there, but the whole point is that this is still authentically you, where you are now, and you're recognizing that there's something that you need to do to switch. There are a whole bunch of extroverts who were absolutely hanging out to speak to someone, and I've met a couple of them when we were able to talk to each other, and I'm reasonably extrovert myself, and it was overwhelming. They go, okay. So the thing for me is that wherever you are, when you simply have to speak, you've developed your own set of supports, and the way that sounds like needy, but it's not. You've developed your own set of techniques previously, and now you didn't have to use them because that skill was not required, at least to the same level. But when you're looking at it, I'd like people to think about the Zoom arrangements. It's still public speaking, and a lot of people have forgotten how to speak and engage with, and they've become Zoom zombies.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And you think, are you there? Hello? I can see your face, but nothing else is happening. And this environment is even harder. You really do have, I am over projecting, but that's the way I am. But in this environment, you still do need to project yourself forward and engage and be overtly part of the meeting. You don't have to be talking all the time, but you do need to be listening and active. And so don't feel bad about changing. Our lives have changed. The things that we all took for granted have changed. And, I'm hardly the philosopher or anything like that. But for me personally, the sort of I really have always enjoyed face-to-face coaching. I haven't been able to do that. And this has been a real change for me, and it's been disappointing, I'll be honest with you, because I can't see people's faces as well as I have been able to. And I will admit I sometimes overcompensate, but better more than less, I think. I don't know. I haven't had any complaints yet, but it's really important. And I think you've taken the major step of saying the environment's changed. What I used to do, I now am not able to do the same way, but taking that step towards it, saying, well, what is it that I'm fearful of? And I think, as we've said, there's a very wide range in terms of introvert and extrovert. And the starting point for everybody will be different, and the end point is different. So that calm and confident is maybe the absolute peak for somebody, whereas extroverted and doing a can is the end point for somebody else. So
it's definitely not for me, but that's very good.
I have been known to do some dancing.
So Debbie, who's watching,
Debbie.
So she's been watching intently. So thank you, Debbie. She actually said that she has a Zoom meeting tomorrow with management.
Okay.
Leading to an interview next week. So So what are the top tips for Debbie in this situation?
So it's a Zoom meeting with management.
Management.
Okay. Debbie, do you have a good camera? Can you rely on the technical support around you?
Let us know, Debbie. But that's actually a really good point, isn't it? Because it is about having all the tech team that you need, because
that's right.
Sometimes does your Zoom go down, or you don't access it, or there's so many times that I try and get on a call, less than 5 minutes before, and then I'm scrabbling around. So by the time I've clicked on mute and the video, I'm sort of like, oh, right. And your first face is
Exactly. So that, I mean, I'm not saying you need to buy expensive gear or whatever, but for me, the first thing, if you are unfamiliar with a Zoom meeting, and particularly with management, test out so that you can discount that as part of your performance. And did you hear my word? Performance. When you are presenting anything, whether it's a meeting, whether it's a presentation piece, it is a performance. So there are things that you need to think about. What's the message you want them to have? That the management, can you give them names, and can you make them, this is a person of 45 years old, he's a male, just think about making them human, making them a group of people that you are speaking to, that you're giving them a message, or that they're giving you a message, I hope. But it's not a meeting with management, it is a performance where you are going to make a connection. And depending on, because we don't know what role you're taking, if you're going to be a sales report deliverer, or I don't know, but the idea is thinking about what your role is when you are in that meeting. Second point, listen. Don't hang out waiting for your turn to speak if what you've said, and you haven't listened to anything that's come up to that point, all you'll be doing is handing over a bit of old news. Really important. I know you're nervous. I know you're nervous, but this is your meeting as much as it is theirs. Your opportunity in this performance to say, I know what I'm about. And if you don't think that, why are you going to the meeting? That's really tough, isn't it? But the whole thing is that if you are certain, amongst all the fear, but if you are certain that you have something that is important to say, go for it. If you don't think it's important, they won't either. If you don't consider yourself intelligent, and if you don't consider yourself with something significant to impart to them, they won't either. That's really, really important. And I know it's a question of, it's a question of self-confidence, a question of all those things. But think about it. And I've said this many times, and I'll say it again. There is no one else on this planet who has your knowledge, your intelligence, your education, where you grew up, where you are in the family. I'm number 5 in the family.
I'm number 1.
Yeah, well, we have 1s and 5s, yeah. That you are unique. You are absolutely unique. There is no one else. How awesome is that? No one else would be able to give the performance and know what you know and deliver it your way in that meeting. No one else. And that to me is absolutely the most significant thing. There is no one who can match you as you. Does that make sense?
Yes, it certainly does. And Debbie was actually saying she's going to be doing, her role is a stop smoking practitioner, which
wow,
very cool.
Wow,
yeah,
wow.
That is really
I wish I was there. I mean, I don't smoke. I haven't smoked for 38 years, but I wish I was there. Oh, Debbie.
Yeah,
that's great. Oh, wow. So you are the practitioner. You're the expert, and you're going to tell them what they need to know. As you said, in terms of an interview, you're presenting your spiel to be able to deliver it again and again and again, yeah? So that there is no one else who can do this, Debbie. This is your gig, your performance as the best quit smoking practitioner in the world.
I like that.
Are you going to argue? Are you going to argue? I'm not.
We're all cheering you on, Debbie. You have to let us know how you get on.
Yes, please.
Very exciting.
Yes.
But another thing that Debbie's actually mentioned in the chat as well is that she's looking to use her phone over, because her laptop needs looking at. So
yes.
Looking at using her phone for Zoom. Mm-hmm. So one of the things just to bear in mind with using Zoom when you're on your phone is that rather than be landscape like it is on a laptop, it then ends up portrait. So it's something that derailed me the first time I was on a Zoom call. So I'm just throwing it out there now. I was like, hold on, do I then turn my camera and don't turn your camera? I found out the hard way.
Oh, we learn very quickly. We learn very quickly from our mistakes. Well, sometimes.
We go, no, turn it back. So as Debbie's written here, very passionate about this and love your advice. So yeah, keep us posted on the results and how you get on, because that is really exciting. What a fantastic role. Such a long changer for so many people.
Oh, I wish I was there. We'll be in the back waving for you, Debbie.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be cheering you on.
Absolutely. Good.
So what other tips would you say? So you say make sure you've got the right tech. You've got, obviously, whether you use your phone or your laptop, it's charged. It's, you're in a good Wi-Fi area.
Yes.
So I know in certain parts of my house, I can't have these sort of things. In other parts of my house, I can. So
yeah.
In the right place. Yeah.
What else? In terms of just as a general thing, if you can, Debbie, I'd really like it if you could say the presentation out loud to yourself in a mirror. I know most people go, oh, I can't do that. But it really, really helps in terms of seeing what your performance face looks like when you're speaking, but also you hear your voice. If you hear that presentation, it's not the first time it's ever been given. You've given it to yourself. Really important. And I know that can seem quite intimidating, but all of this, your voice, the way you stand, the way you breathe, the way you speak, the way you're articulating the words, all of that is part of the instrument of your presentation. It's not just what's written down, it's everything. And as you said, you're really passionate. Fanatics, or should I say enthusiasts, are absolutely irresistible. So if you can feel confident enough to say, I'm going to not say, but in your mind saying, I have a story to tell you, I have something that I'm passionate about, that is absolutely irresistible. And you draw people in so that your eyes should be saying that you're passionate. Your mouth is saying clearly the words that you need to say, that you're standing straight or sitting, in Zoom you'll be sitting, but please sit straight. Don't slouch. It's really important, because when you look at it with Zoom, all you've got is that rectangle, and you're expecting people to be able to connect with you through a rectangle. You have to work that much harder to present yourself a little bit further in. Not that you're going to shout or, squeeze your nose up against the phone or anything, but it's really important that you are fully present. Yes, there'll be fear, but you're the expert here. Debbie, you're the expert, and there's no one else. Debbie, the unique expert standing out.
That's awesome. So, following on from that, there was also, I know that when Sana sent the message earlier, it's about authentic self. And one of the things versus the authentic self is when you said performance. So how do you push through being really authentic, especially when whether you're face to face, whether you're through the camera, how are you authentic when you're putting on a performance?
Yeah, it's putting on a performance in terms of the technical aspects of it. But that performance is the frame for your authentic self. If I was talking to you and I was trying to get a message across to you, would you take me very seriously? Not at all.
That's true.
In terms of a performance, as I said, is the technical aspects. It still has to be from your heart. It still has to be, and I mean, I don't care whether it's sales reports or whatever, it has to be where your heart is, and what you are delivering is authentic. You have credibility, you have authority in this, whatever this is, and that You believe you have integrity. And all of those things are the important things. What you look like, I don't care. I don't think that's of, I mean, I'm probably too old to care. But in terms of the performance, you're still required to be authentic about who and what you are delivering. It's the question of stepping into confidence, and that is really tough to do in a 5-minute talk, but the confidence should come from you are worthy. You are worthy every single day. And what someone else's opinion is of you, obviously it can affect us, but it has to come from deep within you, that you know that you have the goods. And if you don't have the goods, find out where not and work on it. Every single time you step up to speak. Does that help a bit?
It does. Yep. It does. And I think that's the big part of it, is that, as you say, you've got to, it's about you bringing yourself through, but also it is about the passion and how you feel about, and about having the goods. And that's it. Unless you believe that you can do this, like, how can you convince anybody else around you? Because you have to start with yourself first. So once you believe, once you stand up there and you go, I can do this, and the reason why I'm standing up here and I'm doing this presentation is because of this, or I need to tell people about this. That's what propels you forward. Because
absolutely.
How can you convince anybody else to believe what you're talking about? Well,
that's right. And it has to be it has to resonate within you. And as I said, a quiet and calm presentation can be it is just as effective as a noisy one. And it has absolutely nothing to do with snappy background music and freaky PowerPoint slides. Nothing. You know, they're all aids to the technical performance.
Yeah,
it's just, you know, true. And I know that and I'm hoping that if we have men on the program as well, but we as women often can find that people saying you should find your voice. We've always had one. We just haven't been bolstered to let that voice out. And that's one of the best things that we as women can do for each other, is to ensure that that voice is heard, whether it's a quiet, measured, calm voice or a loud, roaring one like mine. All the way along, it is the authentic voice of the woman inside.
Yeah.
It's absolutely imperative.
Yeah, it is really important. Everybody has a story to tell. So
yes. So are you going to feel as nervous next time when you get up to speak?
Do you know, the thing is that I always feel nervous before I get up to speak. I always feel nervous. I feel like I have to push myself through it every single time, but not in a way that I don't want to, but actually in a way that I get a little bit nervous, but I know I've got to do this. And I'm so passionate about what I talk about that that's what propels me through. But I've always got to think the end goal, not that I'm initially that I'm just getting up in front of people and talking. And I never used to be like this. I used to be a lot more confident, I think, when I was younger. But the older that I've got, which is a bit weird, the more I don't even think I care what other people think. I just I just get to a point where I go, oh, I just need to just double think it, or not overthink it, but
think again. Absolutely. And as I said, I think it's because the significance, the importance of your message, and you want to make sure that that message is crystal clear, so that the things that you are saying, you know, they're significant, and you want to give it the best shot. Maybe.
I think that is probably it. I'm a little perfectionist at heart, so
there you go. Oh, a bit more truth there. So
what are your tools and your tips to get you from sort of, because even though I say I get nervous, I still do it. I can still, you can ask me to stand up in front of however many people and I can still do it, even though I get the nerves beforehand.
Yes.
But when you can't do that, when you are crippled by fear, what do you do? How do you?
Okay. Yeah. Can I bring in my 10 top fears for anxiety busting. These are available for free on the website. Number 1, these are 10, and all of them have been used and proven. The first one is when you're sitting there and your heart's beating fast and you're starting to breathe fast, count backwards. Take a moment and count backwards from 100 in sevens. And people go, 100, 93, what's the next one? It doesn't matter if you get it all wrong. The whole idea is, as we've said, is stop the fear spiral. So that's number 10. Number 9 is voice. Making humming sounds or speaking a favourite nursery rhyme to yourself. You do need to warm up your voice anyway for your performance. You know those crazy things you see on TV where people going me, 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 me. Actually, you do need to do that. Warm up your voice and exercise your mouth so that this part of your instrument is well. I mean, you warm up when you go running, don't you? So the tongue is the strongest muscle in the body. Seriously. So, and it's very, very used in speaking. So humming your voice, warm up those pipes. One quick thing we can do, if you could hum for me, and if your lips are vibrating when you are humming, your voice is being projected into the same place, the correct place to speak and project well. So let's hum. Yes. Were your lips tingling?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah. That means you've projected your voice to the correct place.
Okay. I'm so going to be doing this in the evening. I'm going to be like,
That's it. Number 8 is when you're standing there and you're petrified, feel the floor through your feet. Just move your brain, your thinking, and wiggle your toes within your shoes, if you're wearing shoes. So wiggle your toes and just feel the ground. All we're doing each time is disrupting the fear, every time. The number 7 is breathing. Just breathe. Breathe in for 3, hold for 3, out for 3, and do nothing other than think about the breath. Number 6, and this one can be a bit tricky, but if you have a talisman, whether it's a favourite bracelet, a necklace, just touch it for a moment and interrupt the fear. Don't hang on to it and fiddle with it and distract everybody, but just for that moment. Just,
I do that with my hair.
If they're looking at your hair, they're not looking at you and they're not listening. So, okay. Number 5, imagine. This is the mental one, one of the mental ones. Imagine that you are speaking very fluently. Just imagine. Close your eyes for a second or two and see yourself speaking fluently. Will it be a magic thing? No, but it's interrupted that fear, and you have in your mind that this can be done.
Yeah.
Number 4, and this is my favorite because I always respond really strongly to smells. Now, this is not having a cloud of perfume that snatches the oxygen out of the air. Just dabbing a bit, girls, and a bit of aftershave, boys. The smell and the memory of a smell is the strongest trigger.
Okay.
Absolutely. So if there is a favorite scent that you want to wear and you've got your talisman, so you just, and a gentle, however you want to do it, smell, and then interrupting the fear spiral and a calming thing. I love the smell of newly mown grass. If I'm nervous, I just think about that. Very simple. So, if you find that weird?
No, not really. It reminds me of summer. It reminds me of summer, but yeah. Exactly.
Whatever that smell is, or the memory of that smell, mum's cooking or things like that. The third one, the number 3, and that's the top 3, is smiling. If you smile, even if you don't want to, your brain doesn't know the difference. And by you smiling and you think, I don't really want to smile, if you just put it on, the fear has been disrupted. The fear spiral has been interrupted. Hey, number 2 is stance. And Amy Cuddy I don't know whether anyone has seen it. It's a TED Talk where she's talked about actually standing with your hands on your hips. It changes the hormonal. Yes, that's right. The power stance. That's the stance in terms of, I call it the superhero one. And then finally, the one that I've developed, it's called my ninja, okay? And this is usually at the end after we've spent an hour and a half together and all that sort of stuff. So what you do is you stand up with your feet about shoulder width apart, put your elbows into your sides, palms up, hands clenched, bend your knees, and from your belly, give a do it for me. Right from your belly.
Right from your belly. Hold on.
That's better. Yeah. It's got to be right from your belly. It's actually, I'm giving you the opportunity to practice your diaphragmatic breathing. But what we're doing is a ninja. Now, I can guarantee that if you've had the opportunity to do that before you get onto stage, you can't be scared and do that at the same time. I guarantee it. Absolutely guarantee it.
Yeah, I can see that.
If at all possible, don't do that in front of the microphone. And Debbie, please don't do that at the Zoom meeting. Do that before you get there.
That would be amazing.
As a non-smoker, your diaphragm and your breathing capacity will be really good. So will be your way, okay?
That definitely eliminates fear, that's for sure.
Exactly. And and say your name. Works really well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because you've got your hands on your hips, you're ready, yeah.
My name is.
Yep. Yeah, for anyone that can't see, it's power posing.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, even if you wanted to, Debbie, when you're coming to sit down with the Zoom meeting, as you're walking in, before you sit down, do it and then sit down. And then you've done it. You know, you've done your power stance. You've got the hormones changing in your body and you're ready to be smooth and deliver the best presentation they've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, brilliant. They're really, really good tips, because I think that's the biggest thing, is that, as you say, it's sort of getting in the way of the fear, because I'm the same with everything. Like, actually, when you said about it and about the fear, I get something in my head and then it is the fear spiral and it just goes on. And so you always have to find a place to nip it in the bud. And you've just got, I always find, if I'm really hyper aware and I've had enough sleep and I'm, and I'm already in kind of a calm mind, I will, at that point, then I'll be like, right, okay, now I'm going over the top. Now I need to wind it back and I can be in control of my emotions. But I think when I'm tired, or pretty much when I'm tired, or going on, that's when I find it harder to take a moment and go, this is just my fear talking. So it's very much like I kind of just need to be rested. But of course, you can't live your life always rested and always in your best place. So what do you do in those situations? When you're stressed out and then all of a sudden, or you've got loads going on at work or you've got loads going on at home, and then someone goes, right, I need you on a Zoom call, or I need you in a meeting right now.
Yes, right now.
Yeah.
Okay. What you do is ask first. I'm needed in a Zoom meeting. What do you want of me in that meeting? What do you want? I'm happy. I'll be there, but I want to be able to represent you, or whatever the circumstances are. What is the meeting about? Don't fling yourself into this abyss without knowing what's the meeting about. Who's going to be there? What do you want from me? What are we trying to achieve? And of course, in a lot of cases, you won't be in a position to demand those sort of answers. But to me, if you ask them in the right sort of way, you are showing that you are preparing and that you are showing that you care about what the presentation is going to do. You care about what it is that the meeting, what you're trying to achieve, or what the boss or whoever it is that's asked you to do that. You're showing that you care, and you're showing that you're committed to giving a good performance, or give a good meeting, or whatever it is. And once again, all of those, if you don't get a chance to know anything about what's going on within the meeting, take a moment and allow yourself time. Don't expect to have to speak immediately. Someone should be chairing the meeting, or someone should at least be saying, okay, welcome everybody, we're here to do blah. Give yourself a moment to settle and say, okay, I've got the rectangle there and there's a whole bunch of other people in rectangles. Give yourself a moment. You don't have to be brilliant from the moment you open your mouth. It's a really good idea to sit there and, okay, and do a bit of a scan as to what's happening in the room. And obviously Zoom and all those things don't make that easy. When you're sitting in a room and you can watch people's body language and you can watch people's where their gaze is and whether they're fidgeting or whatever. But it's really important to give yourself time. And that only needs to be 30 seconds or so just to get a handle on it.
Yeah, Abby's actually said to be prepared as possible. And I think that's exactly it. It is about being as prepared as you possibly can be before you get into something, because you do get yourself into this situation. And and the problem is that unfortunately you can control you, but you can't control everything else that's happening around you. So
that's exactly right. Yep.
Yeah.
So it goes back to that. Even if you are thrown into it, I keep coming back to it. You are worthy of being in that position. There is no imposter there. You have the intelligence. You have the knowledge. And then sometimes you won't have the knowledge, but take it easy on yourself. If you've been thrown into a meeting and you don't know what the hell's going on, okay, give yourself a moment and there'll be a contribution you can make, or there will be something that you can take away from it. If you're there to just take notes, if you're there to find out what's happening next, take notes for yourself and take them back to the person who threw you into that in the first place. Is it fair? Probably not, but
that's so true. Taking notes is a big one. I always say to people they should take notes, whether they're in a meeting or in an interview or whatever. Always take notes. It makes such a difference. And then, because however you feel when you're in a situation, to then thinking back to that situation, it's always good to have something written down so that you can remember what you were talking about.
That's right. And of course, unless you've recorded it, your notes are the only thing that's going to and as you say, going back to it, having that structure or having those memory jogs is really important. So I agree 100%.
Yeah, massively. So if anybody else that's watching us at the moment, if you've got any questions for Frances, let me know. Just type it in the chat underneath. But other than that, I think, I feel like my mind's a little bit blown, I think, from everything. But the biggest thing, I think my biggest takeaway is to stop that fear spiral and to know that, it's completely normal for so many people to feel that fear.
Yes.
And it's about what you do with it, rather than almost either beat yourself up about it because you've got that fear, or almost get on that fear spiral and just ride it. And before you know it, you can't even articulate a conversation with your boss. So
that's right. And you reinforce it every time that happens. Don't do it. There are ways to stop it. Okay, there are ways. And they're fun.
Always. And that's it. It's about having fun. And I think that's one of the big things that we sometimes forget when we get pulled into to have to speak. It's like, so we've got, I have to speak at this, or I have to do this. And it's not, fun's almost taken out of it. And I think that's a really good point, it is about having fun.
Oh, yes. And that I have to speak then allows you to say, but I can't do that, or I don't want to do that, but just what about I am going to speak? I've been given this opportunity, I'm going to speak.
Yeah.
It brings back your power to control how you are responding to the situation. You're not allowing the situation to crowd you.
So true. It's like staying in control. I think that's the biggest thing. It's about, being in control of the situation.
And as you've rightly said, there are a whole bunch of other things in the situation that you can't control, but so long as you have you've grounded yourself and all of those things.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
So So we don't have any more questions, but Debbie has said thank you. So
good.
yeah, so I guess for anybody here, Frances' details I've put at the bottom of the live, so you can see frances.com.au. And I've got LinkedIn. Woo!
Yes. Woo-hoo. Yes.
So
that's my name there. That's my name.
all right.
Very exciting.
So I'll leave the website down there. But thank you everyone that's come in to join us. Frances, thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been a joy.
It's been really fun.
And I want to see everyone succeed.
Yeah, definitely. Please, everyone, let us know any public speaking gigs that you've had coming up, and just let us know how you get on.
Yes. Fantastic.
Cool. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Bye.